Is it fair for me, 20th, to consider my boyfriend's 25-and-me porn-watching habits as cheating? This is specifically a question regarding my boyfriend, I suppose. I'm 20 and he's 25 for context. I'm not totally sure what to think about this, hence the post. I know porn is popular or whatever, and while I don't really partake, I understand that a lot of people do. We've been dating for 2 years, and as far as I know, he has been interested in porn the whole time and before we started dating. I became aware of it shortly after we had started dating when I was using his computer for something for school and accidentally opened a folder that had a lot of videos downloaded. I wasn't snooping. I was trying to save something to his desktop and accidentally clicked the wrong folder, and it's not like it was particularly hidden or anything. I guess I was pretty caught off guard just because I wasn't expecting it. But I didn't say anything to him about it. IDK if it's naive of me or whatever, but I suppose I thought guys didn't do that if they were in a relationship, but I realized that's probably dumb. I guess it's hard to pinpoint a specific time. I started thinking about it, but over the time we've been together, I would periodically ask to use his computer for something just so I could check that folder, and it always had new stuff in it. So yeah, I was snooping at that point, I guess. Up until a few weeks ago, I'd never brought it up or anything with him, but for whatever reason, I decided I was going to. We were talking about something from when he was in high school, and I jokingly said that I bet he watched a lot of porn back then, since that's what all guys do. I don't believe that, but I was just saying it. And he was like, oh yeah, I did every day. I kinda laughed and asked if he still did, and he said yes. But not that frequently anymore ever since we started dating. I pretty much dropped it after that, and we moved on to talking about something else. I full realized that it would make the most sense just to talk to him about that, but I guess I'm afraid it'll open up a can of worms or something. We have a very good sex life, so I don't think it's impacting that or anything, but I guess a part of me kind of feels like it's cheating. I don't know if that's fair or not, but it's how I feel. He's never made me think that way with any of his actions as public or anything, I don't catch him staring at other women or anything, but IDK.
So sorry if this is a dumb post, but I was just curious what other men think about it. Thanks to anyone who replies, and sorry if I'm being dumb. TLDR, I don't know how to feel about my boyfriend watching porn. Is this common?
My 30F husband, 27 Mim, smears his boogers in random spots of the house and I'm losing my mind. I started really noticing it a year ago when we were moving. I was disassembling his computer desk to get ready for a big move coming up, and that's when I found his first stash. He would pick his nose and then smear it on the underside of his desk. There were hundreds. It was covered. He had also been wiping them on the wall next to him. I obviously brought it up to him and had him clean his own mess at that point. All he could do was grin in what I assumed to be embarrassment. He swore he wouldn't do it anymore. Fast forward to a few days ago, I was looking for something on the floor under our desks. They're back to back. And I happened to look up and once again, covered. Brought it up to him again and same thing. Then just now, I'm laying in our bed and out of the corner of my eye, right next to my face, is another booger that he just smeared into our comforter. I'm pretty upset. That's gross. Everyone picks their nose from time to time. I'm by no means acting above it. We're human, but to be just smearing them everywhere, especially in shared areas like our bed, I'm afraid to even think that they're probably on our sofas and wherever else he sits and doesn't want to move from. It's kind of ruining my attraction to him at this point. I feel like this is a thing that children do. I'm considering just turning our guest bedroom into my own bedroom. I don't know if that's overreacting, but I don't want to be rolling around in boogers, especially during intimidate times. But I don't want to have to sleep apart from my husband either. This all feels so fucking silly. I'm mostly just shouting into the void, but would also like some insight on this situation. How can I get through to him how gross and kind of disrespectful it actually is? I 22M got cheated on by my 20FGF, what now? Hi guys, it's my first time posting, so I'm not too sure how it's supposed to go, but I'm in quite the pickle right now. My GF just cheated on me, and IDK what to do. So to put some context, we've been a thing since December, but only actually got together in February. It was pretty quick, but everything was great until this morning when she asked to talk and told me everything. She had a thing with a guy last year, but it was nothing serious, but she felt as if they never properly ended it. And yesterday she went to a party, and he was there, they talked, and in the end, she cheated on me. Now she's in tears and being super apologetic, saying she did it BC, she was scared of projecting herself with anyone. And when I ask her if there was anything wrong with us, she says everything was perfect, and she really wants to be with me, and she doesn't know why she did it. And now I'm completely lost BC. I actually really care for her, but it's not my first time I get cheated on in a relationship, and I've always stood by. I can't forgive cheating no matter what. Also, I'm going for a year abroad in August. For context, any advice is appreciated. I, 26M, think my girlfriend, 25F, has feelings for her sister's fiancé, 33M, than me. Edit, ignore the than me in the title, my girlfriend, 25F, and I, 26M, have been together for 10 months. We went to the same college and knew of each other through mutual friends. I had a big crush on her, but never did anything about. The first time we ever talked was at a get-together a couple years ago. We actually hit it off. Stayed in touch via text until I finally got the balls to ask her on a coffee date, and to my surprise, she enthusiastically accepted. I had it pretty rough dating-wise before Julie, but I honestly feel like I've found my soulmate. Looks-wise, she is way out of my league, but she's down to earth. We have the same interests, sense of humor, and I feel like we are 100% compatible in every other sense. I will admit that I have some insecurities about our relationship, specifically losing her to a better guy. Julie is naturally extroverted and a bit of a flirt, but I've never felt threatened by her actions except when it comes to her oldest sister, Jessica's fiancé, Peter. The first time I met Peter, it was obvious there was some weird chemistry between him and Julie. It's kind of hard to articulate, but when you spend a lot of time with someone, you can kind of just tell. To me, she was totally goo-goo-eyed around him. She also seemed more giggly and touchy with him, hitting him whenever he teased her, pulling his arm to get his attention. Whenever he got up, she'd always ask where he was going. When he volunteered to grab our food for us, she went along with him, and they were walking so close together their arms were touching. It didn't help that Peter was more handsome than me, about a head taller than me, and more jacked than me. I brought up the fact that Julie and Peter seemed really close with Jessica while they were getting the food, but she didn't seem worried. She said she'd been dating Peter on and off for 9 years, and that he and Julie were like siblings. So I convinced myself I was just being insecure. However, that initial insecurity has only grown as I start to spend more time with Julie and her family. It's mostly been more of the same stuff, but some episodes that bothered me in particular were playing footsie under the table at restaurants. Has happened multiple times. Whenever Julie eats something good, she always shares with people. But when we eat out with her family, she always gives Peter food first. She sometimes even feeds him by hand. I could be being sensitive, but it really sucks to be fed something by your girlfriend right after she's done the same for another dude. They had a weird interaction with what I perceived was sexual tension. Julie asked Peter to try his drink. While she drank from the straw, they were making eye contact for what seemed like a few seconds. Finally, he pulled the drink away and said, "You drank too much," to which she said, "I can't help myself." At the beach, she was watching Peter shirtless while blushing and trying not to smile. Nothing I have ever done has made her blush, FYW. At a dinner, Yuli's dad got drunk, and I never noticed that kind of looks, like a low testosterone version of Peter. And Julie was laughing. Peter wasn't even there, thankfully. But I wish she would have told her dad to cut it out, or at least not laugh at it. When I brought it up later, she just said, "What?" It was funny and kind of true. They have this stupid game where all he has to do is stare at her with a smoldering look in his eyes for a few seconds to make her break out in giggles like a schoolgirl. Everyone else thinks it's adorable and harmless, but it feels disrespectful AF when it's done in front of me. It also makes me feel unattractive because I don't draw that sort of response out of her. I have brought up my concerns with Julie, but she says I'm insecure. She admitted that she found him attractive when she first met him, but says that now he's just like an older brother. She claims she acts the same with Matt, 34M, her other sister Haley's, 28F, husband, but she really doesn't. I don't deny that she's friendly and sociable towards Matt, but there's an obvious difference in her demeanor towards Peter. She never touches Matt. She never feeds him by hand. She never shares utensils, straws. She has no physical to his presence. She says it's because she's known Peter for longer. These discussions end up going nowhere. On one hand, I admit that I am insecure about them, and I don't want to ruin my relationship with Julie over it on the chance that I'm overreacting. But Peter's literally going to be a part of their family, and I can't imagine feeling like this for the rest of my life. They're very close-knit, are always throwing parties, going on weekend vacations, eating out together, and there's just no way for her to distance herself from him. I guess I'm just afraid that he could have her anytime he wanted, and that eventually he will. I've never had a relationship go right before, so am I being insecure and paranoid, or does it sound like something that needs to be addressed? If anyone else has experience with this type of situation, I'd appreciate learning how it was navigated, turned out. Thanks. TLDR. My girlfriend seems infatuated with her sister's fiancé, and it makes me feel insecure about our relationship, her attraction towards me. Lied to my girlfriend about the stupidest thing, please help. 37M, 40F. Okay. So about 3 years ago, I met the girl of my dreams. I was single for a good 5 years after a long, messy marriage. Within those 5 years, I had little short relationships, hookups, etc., but nothing seemed to last. So I practically gave up. Then Facebook created their own dating app, Lolug, so I created a profile. After a few nowhere conversations, I was met by a message from my current girlfriend. We talked for a few weeks before exchanging numbers. So the daily talking became more frequent and finally met for the first time. I knew it was love at first sight. Fast forward a few months, she invited me to her house. After a few times, she wanted to come to mine, which after going through a tough few years, I was mentally and financially struggling, so I was currently staying in a room at my parents' house. So a man who can be insecure at times really didn't think this beautiful woman would be interested in me if she knew I was living with my parents. So after a few times of me making excuses why she couldn't come to my house, I made up the lie that is currently destroying my relationship. I told her my parents were having a tough time and needed to move in with me due to money issues. Man, I so regret doing this. So after a year or so of dating, I completely forgot I even said that. She was around my family more frequently, and my mom kept saying my house, my stuff like that, which obviously gave my girlfriend red flags. So about a month ago, she brought it up to me, and I came clean, saying I moved in with them, not what I told her. So that was a hard thing to explain because she didn't see it my way of why I did it. Because I thought no girl would date a guy living with his parents. My main reason of lying. The last few months have been extremely rough. She thinks I'm hiding and lying about stuff that I'm truly not. It's been almost 3 years, and now she feels she can't trust me because of the stupidity of myself a few months into the relationship. Edit. So she currently thinks I'm lying about seeing my daughter. My ex and I have a very flexible schedule on when we share time. So my ex moved recently and has been a lot further of a drive. I don't want to be an every other weekend dad, so I used to see my daughter 2 days during the week when she lived close. But the last few months I haven't, and my girlfriend thinks I'm not trying hard enough or lying that my daughter is busy that day. She's went through my phone without knowing and thinks I'm deleting messages with my daughter's mother of conversations about getting my daughter. She doesn't think I'm cheating. What do I do? She says she needs me to prove to her she can trust me, yet everything lately has seemed to be an issue when it shouldn't.